After introducing the research problem in Chapter 1 and reviewing existing knowledge in Chapter 2, the next critical question in an academic research project becomes, how will the research actually be conducted? This question leads us to Chapter 3, commonly known as Research Methodology. Chapter 3 explains the scientific procedure the researcher will follow in order to collect and analyze data. It is the chapter that transforms research from ideas and discussion into practical investigation. Without a clear methodology, research findings cannot be trusted. But when methodology is carefully designed and clearly explained, readers can see that the research process is systematic, logical, and academically credible. In this episode of Research Hub and Academic Mentorship, we will carefully explain how to write Chapter 3 of an academic research project step by step using practical examples that students can easily understand and apply. 8 major components makes up Chapter 3, and they are research design, population of the study, sample and sampling technique, research instrument, validity of the instrument, reliability of the instrument, method of data collection, and method of data analysis. I will be taking them one after the other for you to understand better. Research design refers to the overall strategy or plan used to conduct a research study. It explains how the researcher intends to answer the research questions. Different research problems require different research designs. Common research designs include survey design, experimental design, descriptive design, and correlational design. For example, if a student is investigating the impact of social media usage on academic performance among undergraduate students, the researcher may choose a survey research design. This means the researcher will collect information directly from students using questionnaires or surveys. Survey design is very common in education and social science research because it allows researchers to gather information from many participants efficiently. And then we have population of the study. This refers to the entire group of individuals that the research intends to study. For example, if the research focuses on undergraduate students in a particular university, then the population may include all registered undergraduate students in that university. However, studying every member of the population is often impossible due to time, cost, and logistical limitations. That is why researchers select a sample. Then we have a sample and sampling technique. A sample is a smaller group selected from the population to represent the larger population. For example, if a university has 10,000 undergraduate students, a researcher might select 200 students as a sample. The process used to select the sample is called sampling technique. Common sampling techniques include simple random sampling, stratified sampling, systematic sampling, and convenience sampling. For instance, using simple random sampling, every student in the population has an equal chance of being selected. Using stratified sampling, students may first be divided into groups such as departments or academic levels before selecting participants from each group. And then we have sampling ensures that research finding can reasonably represent the larger population. I hope you get that point. Sampling ensures that research findings can reasonably represent the larger population. The other component there is research instrument. This refers to the tools used to collect data from participants. Common instruments include questionnaire, interview guides, observation checklist, and psychological tests. For example, a questionnaire designed to study social media usage may contain questions like, how many hours do you spend daily on social media? Which social media platforms do you use most frequently? Does social media affect the amount of time you spend studying? This and more responses help researchers gather measurable information. Another component is validity of the instrument. Validity here refers to whether the research instrument actually measures what it is supposed to measure. For example, if a questionnaire is intended to measure students' social media usage, the question must truly capture how frequently students use these platforms. Researchers often ask experts or supervisors to review the questionnaire to confirm that the questions are appropriate. This process helps establish content validity. Another component is the reliability of the instrument. Reliability here refers to the consistency of a research instrument. If the same questionnaire is administered to similar participants under similar conditions, the result should be relatively consistent. Researchers often test reliability using statistical methods such as combat alpha. A reliability coefficient of 0.70 or higher is generally considered acceptable in many social science studies. The next we need to talk about is method of data collection, still falling under chapter 3. This section explains how the researcher will administer the research instruments. For example, the researcher may distribute questionnaire to selected students during lecture period or through online platforms. Clear explanation of the data collection process helps readers understand how the information was obtained. And then the last component of chapter 3 is method of data analysis. I want you to know that after data is collected, it must be analyzed. Data analysis then involves organizing, summarizing, and interpreting the information gathered from participants. Common statistical tools include frequency tables, percentages, mean scores, correlation analysis. For example, the researcher may calculate the percentage of students who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media. These statistics help answer the research questions stated in chapter 1. Dear students, chapter 3 is the chapter that demonstrates how research moves from theory to practical investigation. It explains the procedures used to collect reliable data and analyze findings scientifically. A well-written methodology assures readers that the research process is credible, organized, and academically sound. In the next episode of Research Hub and Academic Mentorship, we will explore how to present and analyze research data in Chapter 4. Thank you for staying with us, and I urge you to subscribe to this channel and share with others for more video. Thank you.